Just imagine a girl falling in love with an alien-type creature. At the beginning of this story, we meet a girl named Alyssa, who couldn't speak due to an accident in her childhood. Therefore, she used sign language to communicate with others. Alyssa lived alone in her apartment and wasn't very social. She mostly interacted with her landlord, Mile. Alyssa worked in a large scientific laboratory, but many of the employees mocked her for her inability to speak. A girl named Jen was Alyssa's good friend and always supported her. One day, all the scientists in the laboratory became very alert because a very premium item was being brought into the lab, which needed to be carefully looked after. Soon, a large tank filled with water was brought into the laboratory, but for some unknown reason, the scientists were extremely anxious and wanted to move the tank to another room as quickly as possible. As Alyssa went a little closer to the tank to see, suddenly, she started hearing a shrieking sound from inside it. Alyssa and Jen were extremely frightened about what was inside the tank. However, the scientists present there did not answer their questions and quickly moved to the other room with the tank. The next day, Colonel Charles emerged from that room. Charles was in charge of the entire mission, but at that moment, his hands were covered in blood, and he collapsed after taking a few steps forward. The scientists and security officers were assisting Charles with his treatment. Alyssa and Jen were given the task of cleaning the room as quickly as possible. When Alyssa entered the room, there was a lot of blood on the floor, which was obviously Charles's. But the shocking part was that Alyssa also found 2 severed fingers of Charles on the ground. But how did this happen? Alyssa and Jen couldn't understand at all. They carefully handled the severed fingers, but then Alyssa went to the large water tank and started touching it. After a while, Alyssa noticed a second hand emerging from the water inside the tank. Soon, a strange creature appeared in front of the tank. This creature looked very much like a human. It had 2 arms and 2 legs, almost like a mermaid living in water. The creature began to observe Alyssa closely, but as many scientists entered the room, the creature retreated back into the water. Alyssa and Jen were instructed to clean up and leave the room. However, Alyssa was now certain that a creature had been brought into the water tank. Her curiosity grew about who this creature was. So, the next day, after lunch, Alyssa went to the room to see the creature. She tried to call the creature out. There was a large pool-like area where Alyssa took a boiled egg from her pocket. By tapping the egg with a spoon, she made noise to attract the creature. The creature looked at Alyssa from the water. Alyssa extended the egg towards the creature, but it seemed a bit scared. So, Alyssa peeled the shell off the egg and left it there. The creature immediately went back into the water with the egg. Alyssa noticed that the creature had chains around its neck and legs, indicating that the scientists in the laboratory were going to experiment on it. Colonel Charles then called Jen and Alyssa to explain to them. Charles said that they were only allowed to clean the room and nothing else. He explained that they had captured this dangerous creature from the distant ocean, and the scientists needed to conduct some research on it. He warned them not to approach the creature as it was very dangerous. He mentioned that he had tried to approach the creature himself, but it had bitten off his 2 fingers, and since then, he and the creature had a hostile relationship. But Alyssa didn't take Colonel Charles's warning seriously and went to the room the next day to feed the creature. Over time, Alyssa became quite attached to the creature, and surprisingly, the creature did not attack her. It seemed like there was a raw understanding developing between them. Alyssa would not only feed the creature, but also play music for it. It appeared that the creature enjoyed the music a lot. Although Alyssa couldn't speak, she learned to communicate with the creature using sign language. She could understand everything the creature wanted to convey. Their friendship grew, and it seemed like they had become close companions. However, one day while Alyssa was feeding the creature, Dr. Robert and his team arrived. Dr. Roberts' team was conducting research on the creature for the American government. But Dr. Roberts saw that Alyssa was communicating with the creature, which was very strange because the creature was supposed to be extremely dangerous and out of control. Dr. Robert wondered why the creature was not attacking Alyssa. When he realized this, he did not inform Alyssa that he had seen her because this could be a significant achievement for his experiment. In reality, the American government had given Dr. Roberts' team permission to experiment on the creature, but they did not know that Dr. Robert was deceiving them. Dr. Robert was actually a German spy who was informing the Germans about all the American experiments. Even after World War II, the conflict between America and Germany continued. Both countries kept a close eye on each other's scientific experiments to stay informed about their enemies' next moves. That's why Dr. Robert was there as a German spy. Alyssa had made the water creature her friend because the other people at the laboratory hated her. She had only two friends, Jen and Miles. So, when Alyssa found the creature, she made it her friend. Perhaps the creature felt the same way about Alyssa. One day, when Alyssa came to meet the creature, she saw that it was chained and had numerous injuries on its body. Alyssa tried very hard to free the creature, but then she heard someone approaching the laboratory and had to hide in another area. It was none other than Colonel Charles, who was using an electric shock stick to torment the creature. The water creature was in great pain from these actions, and Alyssa could do nothing to help it. Soon, senior officers arrived at the laboratory and Dr. Roberts' team was also present. Charles informed the officers that they had found the creature in the waters off Africa. The Africans, for some unknown reason, considered the creature to be their god. The officers remarked that given the creature's helpless condition, it did not seem like a god, but it could be a very unique discovery for the American government. The professor mentioned that if they wanted more information about the creature, they would need to kill it and perform a post-mortem. However, Dr. Roberts strongly opposed this idea, arguing that the creature was too valuable and that they might never encounter such a creature again. Therefore, it was crucial to keep it alive. But the officers and Charles had already decided to perform a post-mortem to examine the creature's internal organs. Dr. Robert pleaded with the senior officers, but they told him that they had multiple stars on their shoulders and would do as they pleased. The senior officer granted Charles permission to proceed with the creature's killing and post-mortem. Even though Dr. Robert was a German spy, he understood that killing the creature in this manner was a terrible act. However, he had no choice but to follow the orders of his senior officers. Alyssa overheard all of this secretly. She tried to seek help from Dr. Robert, but it was of no use as he had to follow all the orders given by his senior officers. Alyssa was now extremely frightened, unsure of how to save her creature friend. She decided to go directly to Miles and told him everything about the creature. Alyssa explained that the creature understood all her feelings. Although they couldn't speak, they communicated through gestures, and the creature listened to her very well. But now, the scientists were planning to kill the creature and perform a post-mortem. Therefore, Alyssa sought Miles' help. However, Miles explained that there was nothing they could do because the military personnel were very powerful and did not care about anyone, even humans. How could they care about a creature? Miles initially refused to help Alyssa, but she insisted that she was very connected to the creature and would go alone to save it if Miles did not help. Eventually, after much pleading, Miles agreed to help her. Miles told Alyssa that first, they needed to arrange to get the creature out. By doing this, they could save it from dying. He discussed all the plans with Alyssa to get the creature out. Alyssa adjusted all the cameras in the laboratory so that they wouldn't be able to see them properly. She then filled a large trolley with clothes, hoping to hide the creature inside it. Alyssa brought the trolley to the creature, but there was a problem. The creature was bound by thick chains, and Alyssa did not have the strength to break them. But then Dr. Robert arrived at the scene, and both the creature and Alyssa were terrified. However, Dr. Robert had decided to help Alyssa. He gave her the key to open the chains on the creature's body. Alyssa quickly freed the creature and placed it in the trolley. The creature seemed to understand that Alyssa and Dr. Robert wanted to help it. Thus, the creature had to remain completely calm. Alyssa kept moving forward with the trolley, but along the way, she encountered some guards. The guards became suspicious of her, and when one of them approached the trolley, he saw the dangerous creature inside. The guards tried to stop Alyssa, arguing that they shouldn't be doing this. Alyssa explained that she had to save the creature, otherwise, the scientists would kill it. After hearing Alyssa's plea, Jaya decided to help her. Both of them quickly secured the creature in the trolley and proceeded towards the exit. Meanwhile, Miles was seen trying to enter the laboratory with a car. However, when he presented his ID card to the officer, it was discovered to be fake. The officer ordered Miles to step out of the car. At that moment, Dr. Robert came from behind and knocked out the officer. Jaya and Alyssa quickly got the creature into the car, and Miles drove at full speed to escape the laboratory. Charles and his entire team became aware that they were fleeing with the creature. However, by the time they tried to intercept them, Miles had already sped away with the car. Charles instructed his men to follow them. Alyssa, Miles, and Jaya brought the creature to Alyssa's house, where they placed it in a water-filled bathtub. Alyssa was overjoyed to have saved the creature and spent time enjoying its company, even giving it greeting cards. She decided to release the creature into the water on the 10th, when heavy rain was expected. The rain would help the creature find its way to the ocean. Until then, the creature would need to stay hidden from the military officers. Alyssa and Jaya returned to their regular duties to avoid suspicion, as security and camera inspections were underway to catch the culprits. Miles was left alone to care for the creature. After a few hours, Miles fell asleep due to exhaustion. However, the creature had managed to escape from the bathtub and was now wandering around the house, searching for food. It encountered Miles' cat and, in a state of confusion and hunger, ended up attacking it, consuming the cat's head. When Miles discovered the creature in this state, he panicked and started screaming. The creature, frightened by Miles' reaction, fled the scene. In its haste, it slightly injured Miles with its sharp claws. When Alyssa returned home and saw Miles injured, he explained that it wasn't the creature's fault. The creature had simply been scared and acted out of fear, which led to the unfortunate incident. Alyssa quickly went outside, found the creature, and brought it back to the house. After some comforting and understanding from Alyssa, the creature apologized to Miles, placing its hand on his head. Miraculously, Miles' injury began to heal, and his hair started growing rapidly. The creature had used a bit of its power to heal Miles, accelerating his recovery and rejuvenating him. Alyssa grew very attached to the creature, loving it deeply. Although the creature was not human, its actions demonstrated a profound sense of empathy and care. However, the situation took a turn for the worse when a new character, Chal, appeared. Chal was a ruthless individual threatening Alyssa, stating that if she did not find the creature soon, she would lose both her job and her life. Chal, driven by anger, decided to take drastic measures and headed to Dr. Robert's house. Chal was determined to confront Dr. Robert, who had been trying to protect the creature. Upon reaching Dr. Robert's residence, Chal observed Dr. Robert leaving in haste and discovered that he was headed towards a bridge. Persistent in his pursuit, Chal found that Dr. Robert was meeting with another German official. They were conversing in German, which confirmed that Dr. Robert was indeed involved in espionage, passing critical information to the Germans. Chal's discovery added a new layer of complexity to the situation, revealing deeper secrets and potentially jeopardizing everyone's safety. And now, the German officer had shot Dr. Robert for some unknown reason. Charles immediately arrived at the scene and killed the other officer. He then went to Dr. Robert, who was taking his last breaths. Charles asked Robert where they had hidden the creature. Even in the robot's final moments, Charles tortured him extensively until the robot spoke his last words. The cleaning staff overheard this, which led Charles to suspect Jaya, as she was the one who cleaned the room where the creature was kept. Charles went straight to Senza's house and began asking where the creature was hidden. Although Jaya did not reveal anything to Charles about it, Jaya's husband, Tom Lee, told Charles everything. Tom said that he had seen Jandia talking on the phone about the creature with Elisa, meaning that the creature was at Elisa's house. Charles, without wasting any time, headed to Elisa's house. Jandia immediately called Elisa to inform her that Charles was on his way to her house to take the creature back to the laboratory. Therefore, Elisa and Miles decided to take the creature and leave their house. Additionally, today was the 10th, meaning Elisa would leave the creature in the nearby pond. Charles arrived at Elisa's house in no time, but found no one there. He noticed the calendar with the 10th marked, indicating that Elisa was supposed to leave the creature in the nearby pond. Charles knew where Elisa must have taken the creature. Near the pond, Elisa and Miles were about to release the creature into the water because it had become very weak from staying on land for so long and needed to return to its world, underwater, quickly, or it would die. Just then, Charles appeared in front of them and fired at both the creature and Elisa with his gun. Elisa and the creature fell unconscious to the ground. As the gunfire ended, Charles began to reload his gun. But soon after, the same dangerous creature appeared right in front of Charles, meaning that the creature was unaffected by Charles's bullets. The creature, now extremely angry, attacked Charles and killed him. Charles had received the punishment for his actions, but now the creature picked up Elisa and jumped into the water. The creature began transferring some of its energy into Elisa's body and also used its powers to bite Elisa's neck slightly, causing gill-like structures to form on her neck. This allowed Elisa to breathe easily underwater. The creature had many unique powers that mostly worked only in water, and now Elisa joined the creature in the depths of the water. They had found their love. Elisa, due to her past, had never been liked in the human world, but the creature recognized her inner beauty and accepted her. In a way, they had completed each other. Miles was also very happy for Elisa that she had finally found her love. And thus, our story ends.